morning, family. This is Straight Talk Morning Show with myself, Andre Hill, and Latasha Oliver.
Great morning, great morning, great morning.
But what about me?
That's right. We do have our other business partner up in the room today. We have Mr. Andre Jr.
Hey, Grand Rising family.
He's a clone.
So you got the three of us this time, and we will be bringing on a guest after the first break.
All right. So I'm going to be brief this morning. I don't have a whole lot to say, so Latasha's going to be handling the show most of it. But
he says that now.
But I have some interesting facts, and I was really startled by it, but I expected it. And this is from the Florida Criminal Justice Fact Sheet. Now, I posted this on my Facebook page this morning, and to all of you PhDs, masters, and BAs and AAs, if you are employed in the state of Florida and you allow this to persist, we need to reconcile. We need to think about what we represent. But check this out. Florida's incarceration rate is 21% higher than the national average. If Florida were its own country, we would arrest more people than any other country in the world. All right. Florida currently spends $2.3 billion annually on corrections. All right. Now I'm gonna state these things first, and then I'm gonna come back and address how these monies could be reappropriated. All right. Over half of all jail inmates were found to have had or to have a mental health problem. 285,000 people in Florida had their driver's license suspended in 2017 for a non-driving related offense. Some do not receive notices of the suspension, but if they get caught driving, they face jail time and a lifelong criminal record.
Wow.
All right.
Lifelong criminal record.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So, so what's y'all help me out. We got different generations here. Right. Give me your take on that.
I mean, it sounds like Florida's in the business of tourism and modern day slavery. That's what it sounds like to me.
All right. So my issue with this is that there's a mindset in this government of slavery. Florida used to be the state where slaves, when they escaped, right. They would come to Florida because they could find freedom. But somehow or another, these old slave masters, descendants of slave masters, they moved all their people down to Florida, and they have the mindset that I must continue to. Now, it didn't say. I got to correct that now. It didn't say that these were black folks,
right?
So, but I mean, all cultures need to wake up to this.
Exactly.
2.3 billion. You know how much? That's a lot of money.
That is,
and it can be redirected, in a different direction, in terms of education, trades, and building banks for different cultures, especially for the Black Aboriginals. We need banks and financial institutions, and just $500 million. I know for certain that we can build an institution that will all of the Black Aboriginal people won't be committing crimes or doing anything at all, because we can start providing them with some financial stability. Right. But that's the reality. And, so if you're in the criminal justice business, or if you are a judge, or you are on the police force, so everybody in Florida now is on notice that this exists. And if you are an employee or if you are a scholar and you went to school to make a difference on this planet, you need to check these stats out and say, what can I do to change this? If you are an employee and you know that this is being done intentionally for the sake of money, of ruining people's lives, then you need to sign up for the whistleblower program, and start exposing this, because this is a travesty.
It is.
All right. Okay.
I agree with you. I think it's going to take some effort from the inside and from the outside.
Mhm.
And I'm always saying this to people that are adamant about voting. I say, we're going to vote for some stuff. Go look up a lot of these laws or these ordinances and vote to have them eradicated or changed. It's like, a lot of the times we get hung up on voting a particular person into office and expecting them to make changes, when technically they're just simply that a representative of a body of people.
Right.
And the body of people are the ones that make the changes. So if we feel like a particular representative is not getting the job done, then form a group, form a rally that would have the same power as that particular person, and petition, do whatever protocol, whatever process it takes to get those laws, ordinances, codes changed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we all should be ashamed. Everybody in the state, if you are 21 and over, and okay. So I don't know. I just found these statistics, so I don't know how long it's been exposed, but it's exposed now. It's out there. So this is going to be on YouTube, Facebook, all over the place, and encourage all your friends and family to check these stats out. And but we all, if you're 21 or over. What was the voting age? It's 18.
Yeah.
So if you're 18 and over, so we need, so any politician, anybody that's in office that support continuing these statistics, we need to reconcile our voting power immediately.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm kind of done now. This ball is in your court, Natasha.
That's the first.
Right. What time is it?
Right. What time is it?
Well, 6 minutes in.
All right. So I want. So this kind of ties into what we're talking about today is as far as being an impact in our community. So looking at the statistics, we have to look at, how can we as a people be an impact and make that change, bring that change in our community. And so I know that you also posted as well, as far as you were wearing your legend shirt in your photo, and you're representing a business that has coaches, athletes, businessmen, celebrities, and you're mentoring youth, and you're doing something in the community, which is what we're talking about, being an impact in our community. So with that, what are some things that you, besides, making sure that all of our people go out and vote and stay up to date on what's going on within a political world, because a lot of us actually don't do that. And I'll be, I'll just be honest, I know myself, I don't stay up to date with a lot of the, politics. And I know some of the people in the younger ages, they don't either. So what could we do to make sure that we are, providing that education and the knowledge to our younger people? Because I think the older generations are a little bit more into the political world, right? Mm-hmm. But our younger generations are not so much. So like you being a mentor of youth, and I know myself, what are some things that you think we can probably do to bring this awareness and to make some type of change? Okay, so,
I've preached this over and over again, that the Black Aboriginals, son, can you get me a T-shirt? A Black Aboriginal T-shirt.
We got you. Yeah, I already know who's going to print it up for you.
All right. So, I hope people understand what I'm saying. The Black Aboriginal all over this planet has been stomped on because of the melanin in their skin, and what we have to understand, and everybody need to understand, that melanin. That's why that name Black Aboriginal. We are the original people on the planet, and that melanin has a purpose. But where we are now is that we are charged with changing this planet. We are charged with bringing it back into its natural order.
Right.
It's not in the natural order now because there's certain cultures, and even some of our own Black Aboriginals subscribe to the satanic or bad alien or whatever you want to call that negative demon. That same deal that was offered by the Christ was offered to the Christ, that hey, if you just worship me, this evil, disruptive, unnatural system, I will give you this world on a silver platter. And that Christ entity, whether it was, what his name was or her name, said, what is it for a man or a woman to gain the world and lose his soul? So, we have to, we got to really think about, what we're doing here on this planet. And all the Black Aboriginals need to wake up and understand that if you continue to be complacent and sit back and not engage while you got to go back and listen to these stats. And also call in if you got some, if I'm wrong about these stats, call in 813-444-9588 and tell us what you think about that. Because you might have some more stats that are worse than this. This is horrible. So, okay, so to answer your question, all right, we are looking for community captains, grassroots community captains. I'm not talking about that job that's been appointed by the establishment. I'm talking about real people that's concerned about what's going on.
Right.
You need to come hang out with us on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. at 1240. That's 1240 Ray Charles Boulevard. We are going to empower you. We're going to promote you. We're going to put you on TV, on radio. We're going to bring money to you to get you to engage in your community. That's urgent. That's immediate. And I don't mean next month or next year, immediate, because these stats are basically this unnatural order, this entity that's manipulating our species. It will eventually destroy us unless we wake up. And primarily the Black Aboriginal. You got to wake up and take charge of your planet because you are the original. Did I answer your question? Because I probably went off in the
I want to chime in on what Latasha's asking. So you were asking, how do we get the youth engaged?
Right. How do we get the youth and just everyone? Because I think that a lot of our people don't really take voting seriously because they feel like, oh, well, if I vote, it's going to turn out this way anyway. So what's the point? And I've heard that a lot, so what are some things that we can do to educate our own people, whether they're young, or whatever age they are?
Right. First and foremost, I think a lot of the youth are disenfranchised with the voting process because it seems ineffective.
Exactly.
They feel like they see the same results over and over again. And it is the conventional process. You vote someone in the office, you expect them to make changes on your behalf, and then when people get let down, they don't get those changes, and it just becomes disenfranchised and disenfranchising. And a lot of people are not educated on how the law works. So, and a lot of people are interested in it, right? So, it's just like hiring a professional to do the job. And you don't want to have to worry about it. You hire this person to get in there and do what they're supposed to do, and then they don't do it. And then people it's like you wouldn't call the same plumber and pay him 4 or 5 times, and he come in your house and he ain't fixed the pipes.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, I think we have to educate the youth on 2 things. When it comes to voting for people, we need to educate the youth on how to hold people accountable when they get in the office. That's big. Too many. For years, and not too many times. For years, politicians, they slide by. If they don't do what they're supposed to do, they just simply don't get held accountable for it. In other cultures, that does not fly. They don't put nobody in position, nobody in the power, and that person knows that they're not going to be held accountable if they don't follow through.
Right.
The other thing I think we need to educate our youth on is various alternative protocols to, again, like I was saying, changing laws. That's where it's going to happen, because if we keep perpetuating the same process over and over and it's not showing any results, then people are going to stay disenfranchised. But the moment we bring something fresh and a new protocol in that guarantees or shows just a higher percentage of change, true change, that's when people would get back engaged into voting. And also, I think it encouraged young folks to learn more about particular political processes if they feel like they can change them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because if they don't know, if they're not educated, then they're not gonna pay attention to it.
No,
so
makes
sense.
Most youth feel powerless in the in the political field. That's just simply what it is. They just feel like, all right, so we're gonna vote. All right, so things didn't change. Well, obviously my vote didn't mean anything. That's what that equates to them.
Right.
And they're not stupid. The youth, they're sharp. I watch them, I observe them, and then their minds are sharp. And in a microwave generation, so if they don't see it happen next year, then they're like, all right, but obviously that don't work, right?
Right.
So, and versus, even my generation and generations before me, we look at the political process as it is just that a process that takes time to change things.
Mm-hmm.
The youth they ain't waiting for that.
Yeah. Our youth now, they're on a whole nother, like, let me see it now.
Right.
Like
Right.
you said,
Well, this is what happened. These youth today, I've said this before. They was when they came back in this lifetime, they was expecting the Jetsons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things flying around, and they
Yeah.
have to work all day long.
Yeah,
and
you
just
can
enjoy life.
see that mentality. All right, so we're about to go to break, and when we come back, we are actually going to be talking more about making an impact in our community, and our guest is actually doing that. He's making a huge impact in our community from youth all the way up. So we will be talking with him in a moment.
The hottest concert party in the Bay is back. 95.7 presents their 5th annual Beats by the Bay on November 2nd to Vanoy Park. Live in concert, it's Jagged Edge. Live. Get ready for K. Michelle. It's a very special affair with K. Michelle live at 95.7's Beats by the Bay. Beats by the Bay with Drew Hill. Drew Hill. And ladies, Lloyd is back. But the party doesn't stop there. Yo, it's the Yin Yang Twins. And Hey Marie. It's 95.7's Beats by the Bay. Saturday, November 2nd at Vanoy Park. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster.com. Group sale 727-565-6584.
Ray Williams Funeral Home, providing the highest quality, professional, and caring service for your family. Call Jeffrey Rhodes at 813-253-3419. That's 813-253-3419. Or visit him at 301 North Howard Avenue, Tampa, Florida. Ray Williams Funeral Home, for the finest care and quality service.
Hi, this is Trina Johnson with Caldwell Banker Real Estate, the real estate agent you've been looking for. If you want top dollar for your home or you're looking to make a purchase, call me at 813-244-6953. Again, 813-244-6953, and let me list your home.
All right, we're back. And we are still talking about making an impact in our community. And we now have our guest with us, Mr. Andre Polite, who is making a huge impact in our community.
Boy, that name Andre has power.
Oh my God, I know, right? I am always surrounded by some Andres.
Yeah, three Andres up in this joint.
Today is an Andre Powerful Day, right?
Threefold. Andre 3000.
No, there you go. So Andre is a speaker. He's an author. He is a spoken word artist and an entrepreneur. And he's the CEO and founder of Polite Vision. And he is doing a lot of great things in our community. I've seen him working with the youth, and I know he's done several different things. He has a couple of books out there. He has Tips, which is Taking Initiative, Produces Success, and he also has Star Seeds, The Children of the Ancients, which I've personally read that book with my son, and I absolutely love the way that you illustrated that book. That book is really, really on point, especially for our kids. You know, when I was reading the book with my son, I like the fact that you had the vocabulary in there. Right. That was like key, because when you read that book and it's like, you know, especially for kids, like what is he talking about, right? So I love the fact that you put vocabulary in there so kids can really understand what you're talking about, right. You know? So I know you're doing a lot of great things in our community. So I want to talk to you about, I know that you have your 7 goals I read, you know, in your mission. So I want to know, like, what is the one main goal that you're like working on right now? Because I know you have a lot of different ones, and now you have a lot of different things that you're doing in the community. What's the one thing that you think is the most impactful right now that you're doing?
First, I just want to give thanks. I want to give thanks to y'all having me on the show. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the kind words. And real quick, before I get into that, the reason that vocabulary section is in there is because of one of my mentors who's actually going to be on my podcast tomorrow, Professor Kaba Kabane. He inspired that book by sharing that story on YouTube on a lecture that he gave out in London. And so I had the opportunity to speak with him before I released the book, and he recommended doing that. So that's kind of how that came about. So shout out to Professor Kaba for that. In terms of my number one goal that I'm focusing on right now, I would say the educational aspect of it. As you saw, one of my biggest goals is to have my own school.
Right.
And so, that's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a group effort to get the capital, everything that it would take to actually have a brick and mortar school. But right now I'm in the process of putting together a curriculum. And it's based off of tips. And so what I'm going to do is, my goal is to enter the school board system with this curriculum, and to share a lot of the tips and the tools and the techniques that are kind of the book is based off of, going from mental health, mental and emotional health, to physical health, spiritual health, and financial health. Now, the spiritual part is a little subjective for the school system itself, but what I'm going to do, what my goal is to do, is to have it as an online curriculum, something that I can build on, continuously, to have students and adults and children to pretty much benefit from that curriculum. So education is the key focus as of right now, in terms of what's the number one goal, because I really do want to have eventually my own school, because I feel like we need it, especially in our community, in our culture,
definitely.
our own education.
Well, I got a statement to make. So when I encounter Hispanic people, they take a lot of pride that I can speak Spanish and English, so they're bilingual.
Right.
But what I'm encouraging our parents to do, is help our children to become bi-spiritual. You buy Andre's book, he gives us and our children an image of the original people back during the time when we were the original scientists and educators, so he implants that seed in their subconscious mind. And so I know a lot of us, we still, I'm not going to say kindergarten, in the preliminary mode of spirituality when we go to church every Sunday, but that was given to us by our slave master. I'm going to just say that. I'm going to say it one more time. That was given to us by our slave master. So I know a lot of you from my generation and the generation before me, I know you still holding on to it. But why don't you give your grandbabies and your children this book so that they can become bi-spiritual, because this gives them another metaphysical level of consciousness and power to take charge of their community. Bi-spiritual. All right, it can't hurt. They've been going to school learning the false history of the Europeans. Why can't they go to school? Why don't they read this book and start planting the seed of the true history of mankind?
Exactly.
I
love that.
I'm a rest.
You on something else today. I don't know what's going on with you.
I like that idea, though.
He said, I'm a rest. So I actually bought the book with me. This is the book for all of you on Facebook. Star Seeds, yes. And like I said, I read that book with my son. And the funny thing about that is, to piggyback on what you just said, when I was talking to my son about the book and just about things in general, and he was asking questions when we were talking about the vocabulary, and he was like, well, how do we really know what happened back in, old days, and how he was saying it? And I was like, well, you talk about history. And he was like, well, how do we know that the people that tell us the history know what they're talking about? And I love the fact that my son, because I'm one of those moms where I want my kids to ask questions, right? And so I love the fact that he's thinking like that, because he's not caught up in, oh, well, since I learned this is exactly what happened, right? He's questioning, like, well, how do you know that? And that's what I did, at some point in my life before I got to where I am today. I asked those questions like, well, how do we know all of this, right? Right. So that's where his mindset is. That's exactly where his mindset is. And I like that you're providing that opportunity to give that education to our kids. And I know that you're already going to schools, because I see that you're going to schools and you're talking to kids. So what is it that you're doing with that? Because I know you're looking at doing the education program. So what are you already doing when you're going to the schools and talking to the kids?
A lot of the times I'm doing workshops. I've partnered with a couple of nonprofits as well. So I've been a key figure in some of their programs. So I go and do workshops the majority of the time. And I love it because our young people are brilliant, and
Yes.
kind of like with your son,
Yeah.
with him questioning, they question everything, and I love that. And so one thing I would tell them in terms of our history is it's written in stone. That's why I put them pyramids on there, because our history, our story is in stone, and it's been there for thousands of years. So nobody can deny that. Nobody can denounce that or take that from us.
Right.
It's about us knowing who and what we are and where we come from. And see, a lot of us don't know that.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's what I do a lot of the times when I'm in the schools. I give workshops, but like I said, I'm in the process now of taking it to the next level to where I'll be implementing a whole full-blown curriculum. So I think that's where I'll really be able to make massive change and make impact, and then let the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah. So when you're going to the schools now, are you taking the book? Are you reading the book to the kids? Are you educating them on what's in the book, or you have something else that you're providing, in addition to in your workshops?
A lot of times it's based off of what the teacher or whoever brings me into the school wants me to tailor the message to. So I don't have a lot of control over a lot of the particular content. I wouldn't say the content. I don't have a lot of control over the particular title or theme or topic with a lot of the schools that I go to. But however, I weave into it, whatever I feel like is necessary for that class. So what I've been blessed with is having a good relationship with my intuition. So I can kind of read into the students and see where I need to go with them to get them to engage and to open up and to really just share whatever information with them that I feel like will be impactful.
Nice. So are there any particular types of schools that you're going to, or how was that? How are you getting connected with the schools, and what type of schools and the students are you actually doing workshops with?
I think networking, having opportunities like this where people will see, who and what I am and what I'm about. And so what I've been blessed with is each opportunity that I've had has usually led to another opportunity. So whether it be the teacher who brought me in would tell another teacher, or maybe another teacher might pop in and they'll have a friend or someone at another school and they'll tell them like, hey, Mr. Polite, da.
Right.
And so it's kind of like word of mouth is the main way it's been happening. And just, I feel like just seizing the moment, taking advantage of the opportunity and leaving and making an impact, so that way people will ask me back, or they'll refer me and recommend me to other people.
Right. Yeah, because I know that we've actually had you a couple times working with us and Bubba, so you're doing a lot.
Right.
You're doing a lot because you've done a workshop with us when we had our Father to Son Crucial Conversations during Father's Day weekend. So you were one of our breakout sessions for our boys.
Right.
So you're doing a lot of stuff in the community, and you're not just working with kids.
Right.
You also have a podcast
Absolutely.
that you're doing. So tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Man, I tell you what, this is and much love and respect to everybody who's been on the show so far. But tomorrow's show is extremely special to me because the guest who I have on tomorrow, like I said, that's Professor Cabernet from the Hidden Colors series. He's been a part of a lot of documentaries. And a lot of people don't know, but he's actually a part of the Dr. Sebi documentary that's coming out soon. He's worked with Nick Cannon on that. So it's like, I've watched this guy, probably about 8-9 years. I've watched this guy on YouTube. I've watched everything he's released. I've studied him. I've followed him. And he's just somebody who I look up to from an educator standpoint, from a speaker standpoint. He's just smooth, and he's extremely brilliant. I met him in March of this year, and I got to actually meet him and sit down and talk to him. And it just blew my mind how one person's mind can hold that much information.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to that show. So y'all can tune into that tomorrow. You can find it on my Facebook and Instagram page. It's the podcast is The Supper Food for Thought, Serving Food for Mind, Body, and Soul. And so what that was based off of is I wanted to have an outlet to where I can pretty much serve food for thought, and I don't know how the name came to. I think God just kind of blessed me with the name one day, The Supper Food for Thought,
I love
serving
it.
food for mind, body, and soul. So it was like, it really was just to empower us in every aspect. So I feel like kind of the principles of tips kind of tie into the principle of the podcast as well. I wanted to have guests on who were mentally stimulating, who were physically stimulating, who were spiritually stimulating, who were financially stimulating.
Right.
A lot of the places that I feel like we as a people aren't where we need to be, I want to try to bring the information to help people get to where we should be,
Right.
in terms of knowledge and just sharing information. So that's kind of what it's based on. It's all about empowering us as a people.
Nice.
Well, I got a character I want you to add into your next book.
Oh God.
All right. well, because since we're planting seeds, our children need to know, what the perpetrator behind all this. So if you can create an image of a parasite that has infiltrated our planet, and got one culture and said, look, because you don't have any melanin in your skin, you're going to have a difficult time. So if you do evil to your cousins, your earthly cousins. We'll give you some technology over the rest of them.
Right.
You know, and we need to let all the cultures really need to, all the children need to know this so they can recognize that parasite when it's offering them alternatives to maintaining the natural order and balance on our planet.
Well, I'll tell you what, great minds think alike, because what my ultimate goal within the next 3 to 5 years is I want to get into movies.
Wow.
I have a documentary that the goal is to release next year. We're working on that behind the scenes now. But that's just a documentary, which is gonna be based off of something you'll like. It's gonna be it's called the Ashe, the African
He's doing everything.
spiritual experience.
It might happen sooner than you think.
Oh yeah. Well, the movie idea that I have is gonna be exactly what you're talking about. It's gonna be powerful.
All right. So let's hold that thought. We're going to break. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with Mr. Andre Polite on how he's making an impact in our community in this movie that he's talking about.
Hi, this is Dale Day. Join me every Monday at 7 p.m. for Jazz at Miss Connie's house, bringing you the smoothest jazz and the coolest guests right here on In Touch Radio.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe me. 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking kids in the Florida. Grab a pin of sundown. 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy stay fine. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky, is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims, giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Now 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
All right. We're back, and we still have Mr. Andre Polite, and we're going to get into this movie that he's talking about. All right. Talk to us a little bit more about it.
Well, I look at it as we have a lot of sci-fi and we got a lot of stuff going on out there, but there's nothing that portrays the future from a melanated standpoint. So I look at it as if, let's just say it'd be like my version of Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
But it's gonna be powerful.
I bet.
Have you ever seen the movie The White House is burning, the White House down or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, so just imagine something like that from a melanated standpoint.
All right.
Well, let me say this to you. In the UFO community, there are thousands and hundreds. They were getting ready to invade Area 51 a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
But I've studied this because I know we are not the only intelligent species in the universe. You got to be asinine, stupid, retarded.
Right.
So and forgive me for that word, but they intentionally exclude the black extraterrestrials.
Oh yeah,
intentionally,
right?
Because it would immediately alert us to wake up,
right?
Immediately. And so that movie Wakanda, it touched on it,
right?
But they kind of suppressed it, that it was, wasn't quite like that. But we need to do more movies like that.
Yeah.
Because our children now, all they see is the pale skinned,
right?
Yep,
ETs,
exactly.
the grays and all
Yep.
that, and maybe the reptiles, but they try not to even show them much.
Right.
So, but yeah, we need to get it out in the forefront, because the parasite instructed the other cultures that you got to suppress that, because if they ever regain their history
right.
and their true scientific knowledge, then the game is up.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's where star seeds actually came from. It came from the Dogon tribe, which in the Dogon tribe have historical records of an extraterrestrial visitation from the Sirius star system.
Mhm.
Like this is documented. I mean, and they document it so heavy that they have what's called a Siggy Mass that they make every 60 years to commemorate the initial contact that they had with the beings from the Sirius star system. So we definitely do come from the stars, and that's not just talking. Like we have historical records. That the pyramids have historical records. If you look at some of the hieroglyphs in the pyramids, you'll see UFOs, you'll see helicopters, you'll see all the things that modern technology are having now. It's been there thousands of years ago. We've done all these things, but this is all history that's been kept from us. And you really want to see some history about extraterrestrials, anything else, you get into the Vatican and in that vault that they got down there.
They know the truth. They've always known the truth.
Let's be real about it.
Yeah, man. So how do we get, for those parents out there that are listening, how do they find a copy of your book?
They can go to my website, Polite Visions, www.politevisions.com, and there's a link right there. You can click the link and you can purchase the book, or you can email me or inbox me on social media. Facebook, you can inbox me. Instagram, you can inbox me, or you can email me at politevisions@gmail.com.
Okay.
All right. So also, Andre is also going to be a part of our event on October 19th that everyone knows about, the Return of Africa. So he's also going to be one of our keynote speakers. So if you want to see him live, please make sure that you are in attendance at the Return of Africa on October 19th. And we'll give you some more information about that. So a little bit more on some other things that you're doing, because I know you do so much. And I know you have 7 major goals.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about that. I know we kind of touched on a little bit of some of them, but let's go through what those are and see what else you're doing in the community.
Those goals are huge, but I feel like they're accomplishable in due time. One of them is to have my own store, a holistic grocery store, farmland to grow our own food and have our own natural food. Another one is to have a rehab center. I've dealt with family members who struggle with drug or alcohol addiction.
Oh, wow.
So I wanted to have, a rehab center where we can help people hands-on with holistic approaches to recuperating and recovering from their addictions. Another one, I believe there's something out there named this, but this is what the idea was birthed from Second Chance Coalition. And it would be an organization that would help convicted felons or people who've been in prison or served time in jail when they get out, to help them get reacclimated with getting back into society.
Yep, we need that.
To get work experience, to get entrepreneurship skills, everything that they would need to be a productive citizen in society.
Right.
I would like to create an organization that can give them those tools and techniques that they can utilize to come back into society and be successful. I want my own hospital. I would like to have my own holistic hospital where we have doctors who practice holistic approach to healing. And and then the school, and then the community center, and then a restaurant, a vegan restaurant. So everything is really, it's always, for me, it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm so driven to go so hard, to work as hard as I do, because I know it's bigger than me. I don't do it for me. I do it for the collective, of especially our culture, but humanity as a whole.
Right.
I feel like the more successful I could be, the more I can create success for other people.
Exactly.
And so that's what it's inspired by. Really, and my sons, they really inspired me. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I'd be doing close to what I do now. But my whole story, my whole life transformed through failure. And I wouldn't trade that for the world, because when I was at rock bottom, I remember that feeling. And I said, I would never feel like this again. So every day I wake up and try to do something to create a legacy for them and for myself. And because I know what it's like to be at rock bottom, I know what it's like to lose. And so I told life, I'm going to fight back. I'm coming out swinging. And that's how I kind of approach life now. So
okay, so we got to pay the bills.
I forgot about
and
that.
then I got a question. I got a serious question for him. And this is going to be a stressful one. Stay tuned.
Here we go.
This is quick. We want to encourage you. Mike over at Best Deal Pharmacy. This is one of our sponsors, and it takes sponsors for us to stay on the air. And so we need our listeners to do business with our sponsors, because when you do business with them, they continue to sponsor us, and then we can take this radio show to a television station, and then to the silver screen within the movie theaters. That's how all the other cultures do it. So go check out Best Deal Pharmacy. Talk to Michael. He's a genius. He's from Cameroon, And we are connecting with our African people. Again,
Right.
it's mandatory. They Black Aboriginals. I tell them too, they're all on my Facebook page. And, and one sister was afraid to tell me she was from Nigeria. And I said, why? She's because you all hate us. I said, no.
Wow.
No, so I know where that's coming from. Right. But anyway, go check out Best Deal Pharmacy at 5352 North Havana Avenue and give Michael a call, 813-644-6845. And I'm going to call that number out again because I failed to tell you to go get a piece of paper and a pencil like I usually do at the beginning of the show. So, but go call Michael. He's going to make your prescriptions because everybody's not the same size.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not don't eating the same food and have different lifestyles. So he's going to tailor your prescription drugs so you won't have all those bad reactions or ineffectiveness from your drugs. Give him a call. He's a genius at 813-644-6845. And be sure to tell him you heard about it on the Straight Talk Morning Show. All right. So I got this one serious question.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right. So what I hear, everybody has to go through the test of humility.
Right.
All right. I went through it.
Mhm.
I went from making good money to zero because I did not have social infrastructure in those cities, until I came home.
Mhm.
And what I had to do when I came home is reconnect all the communities with love. The test of humility, I think I got that word all right.
Mhm.
It helps adjust your mind to understand it is bigger than you. And so my question to you, and I probably kind of know the answer to this,
Mhm.
but what kind of support or backing or encouragement are you getting from my generation, the old school generation,
That's a good question.
the men?
As of late, within the last 6 months, a lot. A lot.
Good.
A lot. I
Yeah,
have
that's good.
I give thanks to God, man. I feel like the creator don't make mistakes, and everything happens in divine time. So within the last 6 to 9 months, I've had 3 or 4 mentors into my life who I still can't believe I'm looking at the phone, like I'm calling these guys, or these guys are texting me. Like I'm going to see one of them here locally tomorrow. And he just reached out to me and told me he wanted me to come see him and meet him. He's very private. He doesn't like to be in the front line, but he's a powerful brother. I mean, he's extremely powerful. And he's very gifted at what he does. And for him to see something in me and to take me under his wing, it means a lot. Like I'm still trying to process a conversation we had 2 weeks ago because he dropped that much knowledge on me.
Mhm.
And then, and then to have, a relationship or build a relationship with brothers like Professor Kaba. If any of you guys seen any of the Hidden Colors series, I had recently met Professor James Smalls, and I've been communicating with him. So these are people who I look up to,
Mhm.
like superheroes, like they're like the Malcolm of our time. They're like that dude. And so to have relationships with them and then a few other people who would like to remain anonymous, I feel like it's priceless. I mean, it's priceless. So I feel like, and you too, it's a lot of brothers who I feel like are giving me support. Several, they reach out to me, they check up on me, they'll text me, hey, how you doing? And it's just even little things like that mean a lot to me because it takes a lot to do these types of things, especially knowing, I know wholeheartedly that someone who does the types of things that we do, you can be a target. Once you get to a certain level, you can be a target. And the powers, the so-called powers that be, they do little things that kind of let you know, yeah, we see you, and just know that we can touch you if we want to. You know what I'm saying? But I look at it like I don't see you.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Because you can touch this body, but you can't touch this soul.
Right.
And at the end of the day, regardless of if this body is here or not, my soul is still going to work.
Absolutely.
It's going to work a lot more powerful outside of the body. So just let me stand this little 205-pound body and do my work here, or to get more crazy outside of it.
So you feel that the gap is being bridged now because I know my hometown Tampa. We've been like, I don't know, there's a lot of the old guys that don't want to support or they just giving up on your generation. Right. But do you feel a movement that the brothers are starting to say, man, I got to demonstrate by example?
I do. And I think now this is where I feel like the key is. I think it comes from the effort matches the effort. So if us as young people are putting forth the effort to do the work, then I think the elders, what I've experienced, the elders have seen the effort and they don't mind doing
that's
the same.
key.
That is key.
So I think that's where I've been seeing my blessing is the effort that I'm putting out. You know, I'm putting out a lot of effort, and then I believe the elders see that and they're like, okay, well, I can pour into him. I can invest in him because I know he's going to do something with it. And so I feel like as us, the younger generation, we owe it to not only the elders, but we owe it to our youth to put forth that effort, to make massive change. And then when we put that effort out, that effort is then matched by, you know, the elders.
Absolutely. So that is a very key point, because, you know, my generation, you know, and I talk to them, I am one of them, and I talk to them all the time. And a lot of them are just, you know, kind of giving up because they say your generation is spoiled. You know, they don't want to clean up. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. They just expect it all to be handed out. Yeah. But if you just demonstrate or initiate and implement and talk to enough people, you know, in our generation, and we see that you're serious, we'll start backing you financially, morally, spiritually, whatever it takes. But you gotta make that first step. You know, we're not going to come find you and say, you need to do this. And you got to make that first step. So if you don't know what first step to make, come out to our Wednesday night meetings at 1240 Ray Charles Boulevard and 7 p.m. And we can help you make that first step. And, you know, I did my, on Facebook, I had my Legends uniform.
Yeah.
So we got about 50, 60 guys, are old school brothers. They're sitting around waiting to help people out, you know, and it's a beautiful thing. So the gap is being bridged.
You said one word that was key, and I'm still plugging their tips. When people take the initiative, you said initiative, and that's why I titled that book, Tips. The acronym is Taking Initiative Produces Success. That was an affirmation. And by me doing that, writing that book itself, I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't write that book.
That's what we're talking.
So take the initiative and produce a success.
All right, we're going to another break. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey, this is Tampa Bay Tammy. Don't forget to pick up your copy of In Touch News.
Ray Williams Funeral Home, providing the highest quality, professional, and caring service for your family. Call Jeffrey Rhodes at 813-253-3419. That's 813-253-3419. Or visit him at 301 North Howard Avenue, Tampa, Florida. Ray Williams Funeral Home, for the finest care and quality service.
Hi, I'm Donald L. Dowers Jr., your motivational guru. This is the DLD Motivational Moment. One darn second. America, since 2017, is suffering from a serious hiccup. 9/11 is seriously overused in a distasteful manner. Every day, the cops are calling on an innocent person of color. It amazes me that America has come down to this. A person of color becomes a person of interest. Waffle House, the dorm, Starbucks is a few. This is not the lunch counters, sit-ins of the 1960s. 2019, harassed simply for being black and proud. Hold on one darn second. This has been the DLD Motivational Moment. Pre-order my new book, Motivational Moments, at DLD282002 at yahoo.com or 813-394-5875.
95.7 presents the 5th annual Beats by the Bay. Live in concert, it's Jagged Edge. Hey Michelle. Trudell. Lloyd is back. Yo, it's the Yin Yang Twins. And Hey Marie. It's 95.7's Beats by the Bay. Saturday, November 2nd at Vinoy Park. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster.com.
You're up.
All right, we're back.
That's the drum beat.
I'm like, what's going on? All right, we are back. All right, so again, I want to remind everybody about the Return of Africa that's coming up October 19th, and that's going to be in Clearwater. And you can get more information at our website, www.urbanproject.org. urbanprogressalliance.org/events. Again, that is urbanprogressalliance.org/events. That is going to actually be at the Harrison Ford in Clearwater. Make sure you get your tickets. Again, our guest today, Andre Polite, he's going to be one of our keynote speakers. We have a lot going on that day. We're celebrating the business of culture. So you want to make sure that if you come, which I know you will, I want to make sure that you're wearing your cultural attire, dashikis and whatever it is. The food is going to be amazing. The networking is going to be amazing. You're going to be presented with a lot of different things where you can meet different people that are doing different things in the community, just like we're talking about today. And this is a way for you to come and start to be an impact, to start to networking and start to building those relationships with our Black businesses and knowing what's going on in our community. So again, I want to make sure that you know to go to urbanprogressalliance.org/events for more information and to get your tickets.
And there's free valet parking. All you got to do is pull up in front of the hotel and they will take your car and park it. There's no charge. Of course, you might want to tip the guy, but I mean, a couple of dollars.
Yeah.
But,
exactly.
But this is the spiritual revolution, the awakening. This event represents us waking up, taking charge of our community, because this will create more momentum. There are people that want to bring millions, hundreds of millions of dollars right here to this area to support this positive movement that we have going on. So by attending, showing up, pre-ordering your ticket, this helps encourage Andre's, Latasha's generation, all these different, hey, we can do this. You old school folks, buy a table. Give me a call. I'll make special arrangements. You can get for a table of 10. Give me a call and I'll bring your tickets to you. If you're close, if you're in the Tampa Bay area, call me at 813-475-2775, and I will bring you a ticket for tickets for a full table of 10. And you want to get your best dashiki, because I know some people got some dashikas, African wear that's out of sight. I got mine. I'm getting ready to send it to the cleaners and add some more bells and whistles to it. But we're going to show off. You're going to display it. And this is a power event. This is a spiritual power event.
Yeah. And if you're not in the Tampa Bay area, this is actually worth traveling for. So if you are even in another state, this is worth traveling for. So make sure that you get your ticket and you show up.
Oh, and it's like three or four blocks from the Clearwater Beach, so after you get through wearing your African outfit, bring your beach wear and just go over to the beach, and you're gonna already be full, so you don't have to buy any food, right? And just bring your bottles, and go sit out there and chill.
Some libations out on the beach, man. Libations moon.
Yes, sir. So go ahead.
All right. So Andre, some more on what you're doing in the community.
Okay.
So what is the next big thing that you're, besides, because we talked about the movie, we talked about what you're doing with the kids and everything. What is the next big thing that you see yourself doing that you're probably not working on right now?
Secret.
All right. Okay.
No. I'll say it. The biggest thing is the documentary coming out next year.
Okay.
I haven't set up the full blown promotional like the launch, the landing site, the website, and all that stuff there. But that's the number one thing right now, and I feel like that's going to be huge. Like I said, it's called the ASHE. It's an acronym for the African Spiritual Experience. And it's going to be powerful. It's going to be very powerful because I have some powerful people that's going to be a part of it. And so I feel like the information is, I know you would love it, Mr. Hill, because my goal for this project is to bridge the gap from spirituality from a European perspective or a European's religious type to bridging it with spirituality from an African's perspective or African spirituality's perspective. So the goal is to create the bridge to where we, there's no misconstrusions, there's no confusion about African spirituality. And one of the things that I've learned from one of the people who's going to be a part of it is that it doesn't matter what religion you practice. It doesn't matter what spiritual system you believe in. What really matters for us at this point in time is knowing who and what we are.
Yeah.
Once we know who and what we are, it doesn't matter what God you pray to. Because when you know who and what you are, when we know who and what we are, we're not going to limit who I don't care who you believe in. I'm not going to ever disrespect who you pray to or what your religious practice is, but let's work together.
Exactly.
And that's what my whole goal is for this project, is to get us to see that we are all the same people. But it doesn't matter. Don't let who you pray to or what church you or what spiritual system that you utilize. Don't let that divide us. Like, we need to unite. United we stand, divided we fall.
Well, I'm going to volunteer for a special segment. You can interview me. I'm going to tell the people.
I'm going to hold you to that too. I need some. I need some footage.
Well, see, I'm going to tell the one piece that I got to tell people about, to our Black folks, to our Black Aboriginals. I had an encounter. I talked about it on the show. I gave you some hints about it. And this young lady just recently passed. This was a Caucasian female. And she, and this is the second or third time, but I have to keep talking about it. This woman told me about the abductions, over and over again. But when she told me about the melanated, the dark-skinned extraterrestrials that comforted her, that was mind-boggling. It had a profound effect on me. It changed me in an instant. When she admitted that all the harsh treatment by the ETs that created the Europeans, that's another story.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the R word.
That the Browns, the one she said they had eyes like starbursts. She said they were the ones that came and interceded the Grace technology and comforted her. The spiritual ones. Man, that changed me in an instant.
And I'm gonna say this: if people don't believe in extraterrestrial life forms, you got it. I'm not gonna judge you, but you got to wake up, because this planet would have been destroyed a long time ago had it been for the people who quote unquote run this planet. There's been many a times they've tried to drop nukes and they've tried to literally blow this planet up. And every time that they've tried that, some UFOs would literally fly over whatever site they was trying to launch or trying to
shut them down.
And literally shut it down, freeze everything. Like, nah, we're not gonna do that. Y'all not gonna do that. You think you're gonna do that, but you're not gonna do that.
Well, I think a lot of we still have the mindset. A lot of our people that really continue to subscribe to that, to one concept. They want to refer to them as angels. Well, they're little angels that did it. But that was technology. That was a metal device, and they shot lasers and shut the warheads down, because these are some of these parasite
I love the name parasite.
Some of these parasite puppets, they were just like, we gonna do dumb stuff, and but go ahead.
No.
If you want to hear more about it, you got to come see his documentary, because I'm gonna talk.
It's deep.
I'm gonna lay it out.
I've actually seen craft several times. I have footage of about 2 or 3 sightings that I've seen.
I understand.
I've seen them. So I mean, for people who try to say that they're not existing, I can show you myself a real craft entering the atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, it's being exposed, it's being revealed, and our people are going to be the last one to wake up, and the ones that don't wake up, you're going to be missing that boat, man, if you don't get your mind aligned with reality, the truth.
Exactly. So we're getting ready to wrap it up for today, and we definitely appreciate you, Andre Polite, coming on the show today and dropping some knowledge and your impact that you have in the community. Everything you're doing is definitely appreciated, definitely needed, and we definitely need more people like you in our community. And those of you that want to reach out to him, make sure you do that, because we need all the support we can when it comes to our youth and it comes to getting our people back to where they need to be. All right, so we will see you all next Saturday on Straight Talk Saturday Morning Show.
Thank you guys for the opportunity. I appreciate you.
All right.